And joining me on the line is Dewa Mavhinga, who is a Southern Africa Director at the Africa Division at the Human Rights Watch, as well as with me in studio is Tino Mambeu, who's from the Zimbabwe Exiles Forum. Gentlemen, many thanks for your time this afternoon. Tino, simply because you're with me in studio, I start with you. Let's talk about that violence that we saw taking place and 3 lives lost. Apparently these are MDC Alliance protesters who were calling foul to the results that have started trickling through. Your analysis of that situation?
Firstly, let me start by appreciating the fact that you have called me into studio to share with you. Now, Ropiwa, you'll understand that Zimbabwe is a country that is coming from decades, about 4 decades of political maladministration. It is coming from decades of hunger, decades of lack, and the people are agitated. The people of Zimbabwe, went into the polls hoping to get a result that will be in a position to chart a new way forward for the country. Now, you will remember that there have been a lot of demonstrations regarding the processes leading to this particular election. The opposition parties in Zimbabwe have complained that the electoral playing field has not been even. Now, on the day of voting, it was peaceful and there were no problems. But as soon as the results started coming in, remember, according to the electoral law, results are pasted outside the polling stations. Then polling agents are also required to take signed copies of the results that have been posted. Then the president of the opposition announced that he was doing exceedingly well, and he was confident of a landslide victory over Mr. Mnangagwa. Then fast forward to yesterday when the ZEC announced that ZANU-PF had taken majority in parliament. The norm has always been that presidential results are the ones that are counted first in polling stations. So the delay in releasing the presidential ballot has been explained as a way to try and manipulate the result, which has not been in favor of the incumbent.
Right.
That is what has caused the skirmishes we have seen. Right.
And Dewa, your insights on this particular development in these elections. I mean, does the MDC Alliance have a case here? Could there have been foul play after seeing what was largely a peaceful election on Monday?
Well, what is clear is that state security forces use excessive force to crash a peaceful demonstration, but especially the firing of live ammunition on unarmed civilians, which resulted in the killing of at least 4 people and the injuries to dozens more. It was indiscriminate and excessive. So some of the deceased had nothing to do with the protest. They were going about their business in town when they were caught up in this violence by state security forces. But what is important, which we now need action on, is the Twitter call by President Emerson Mnangagwa for an independent investigation into the violence in Harare yesterday. This must happen immediately. We do not want impunity where people go unpunished, as has been the case previously, where the army is involved.
But how credible will this investigation be? I mean, the army is, in essence, employed by the incumbent government, and they are the ones that released fire yesterday. And I just want to get a sense from the Human Rights Watch perspective as to the credibility and a fair, conclusive outcome in this independent investigation that the president has called for.
Well, when we talk of an independent investigative mechanism, we are looking at something that would be led, for example, by a judge or retired judge, which is independent of the government. Clearly, in terms of the law, the president is the one who has the authority to deploy soldiers. So President Mnangagwa also has a responsibility because the soldiers who were deployed were armed and they did fire live ammunition indiscriminately on the streets of Harare, populated by citizens who had nothing to do with the protest.
No, absolutely. Many thanks for your insights there, Dewa Mavhinga from the Human Rights Watch. Let's continue that discussion. I mean, you've just heard what he's had to say about, you know, the credibility of this independent election and really what it'll do for Zimbabwe going forward in terms of the policy environment for the country after the new president has taken office.
Well, there is a lot of confusion regarding who ordered the soldiers onto the streets. What we know so far from the Ministry of Home Affairs is that police asked for backup from the army. As to who in the army, is it the commander of defense forces? Is it the president? Is it the Zimbabwe National Army commander? We do not really know who ordered the army to go into the streets and open fire. So, according to the constitution, as my friend has been alluding to, Dewa Mavhinga, it is the duty or it is the constitutional responsibility of the president as the commander-in-chief to authorize the deployment of armed forces. So if the constitution had been followed as it is written, we would then be suggesting that Mr. Mnangagwa is going to be investigating himself. Now, what we do not understand is when the order for the military to be deployed, were they deployed to shoot or they were deployed to try and disperse protesters in a more civil manner? So as they were on the ground, we still need to establish who shouted the words fire. Yeah, I think you would have seen that soldiers were ready to fire. They were actually firing on positions, on supported positions, kneeling down, you know, mowing down people in the streets. And in one of the videos, we have seen one soldier going to stop the other men from firing, the other soldier from firing. So we don't understand whether these soldiers were just acting out of being trigger happy, or there was really a command on the ground to say, let's fire this direction, let's fire that direction, because you cannot let armed soldiers just run amok in the streets. No. There's got to be an explanation of what happened.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right there. There has to be an explanation for those events that took place where 3 people lost their lives there. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I've been engaging there with Tino Mambeu, who's from the Zimbabwe Exiles Forum.